We've compared the touch and gyroscope of the RedMagic 11 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So, how does the RedMagic compare to other flagship Android phones? The RedMagic 11 Pro and the Vivo X300 Pro showed virtually identical touch and gyroscope latency and tracking, both very responsive. Both devices have new chipsets, and the RedMagic hasn't yet adapted to 144 frames per second, currently topping out at 120 frames per second. The 11 Pro experienced no jitter with single-touch multi-finger taps. During multi-finger swipe testing, we observed no issues like screen skipping or touch dropout. The gyroscope is very sensitive, with no auto drifting when stationary. The 11 Pro currently boasts higher resolution than the Vivo X300 Pro. My touch speed is 346, as it hasn't yet adapted to 144 frames per second. With this 5th generation Snapdragon 8 processor, running at 120 frames per second at full brightness is no problem. It remains stable around 120 frames per second throughout. Wait until it's fully adapted, and then test it again. When playing games on this RedMagic, I had few issues with its touchscreen, image quality, frame rate, and temperature. The touch latency and chirality have been significantly improved after upgrading to the new processor. However, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is slightly more proficient in this game than any other Android device, though the microcontroller on the iPhone 17 Pro Max is clearly not as good as the RedMagic 11 Pro. With the RedMagic's touchscreen fully activated, the screen didn't jump when tapping with multiple fingers, and during multi-finger swipe testing, I didn't experience any screen jumps or touch dropouts. This RedMagic has perfectly resolved the issue of screen jumps. Regarding gyroscope latency and chirality, the RedMagic 11 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max are essentially identical, both very responsive. The Game Assistant offers a gyroscope sensitivity setting. Maxing it out significantly increases the gyroscope's range while maintaining the same sensitivity in-game. This is very useful.
The gyroscope is very sensitive,
with no automatic drift when stationary. There's no noticeable difference in clarity between the RedMagic 11 Pro and other Android flagships, but it's noticeably sharper than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. My touch speed is usually 360, and the 11 Pro, worthy of being Seth's go-to device, delivers excellent frame rate performance. Regarding the biochemical warfare gyroscope, the 11 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max have virtually identical lag tracking. The RedMagic Game Assistant allows you to adjust the gyroscope sensitivity. At full gyroscope sensitivity, while maintaining the same in-game sensitivity, the camera's range of motion is significantly increased. This feature is quite useful for gyroscope users. Slowing down a 120 frames per second video to 10 frames per second reveals that the 144 frames per second RedMagic 11 Pro is noticeably smoother than the 120 frames per second iPhone 17 Pro Max. While the RedMagic 11 Pro's tracking is slightly slower than the iPhone 17 Pro Max's, at normal speed, the difference is barely noticeable. Both are very responsive. The RedMagic 11 Pro's microswitch recognition is excellent, and the source image is fine. Apple's microswitch is currently problematic. After using the new 4-speed automatic on this device, I've maxed out the touch control options in the Game Assistant to see if this resolves any issues. The screen didn't jump around when I tapped multiple times, and I didn't experience any issues like screen skipping or touch dropout during my multi-finger swipe test. This touchscreen is a significant improvement over the previous generation. The gyroscope is very sensitive, with no auto drifting when stationary. The 11 Pro currently boasts higher definition than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. The biggest difference between the 11 Pro and other devices is that it improves, rather than reduces, clarity when interpolation is enabled. Without interpolation, the difference in definition is not much compared to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but you'll have to see for yourself when comparing it to the Pro Max. I won't comment on it.
How much difference does turning interpolation on and off on the RedMagic 11 Pro make in moving footage? In very slow motion shots, there's no noticeable difference. However, there are some minor issues with interpolation in the image of the legs in motion, with visible blurring and ghosting. However, at normal speed, this detail is barely noticeable on the phone screen. Therefore, I believe interpolation is useful in 2D games and improves the gaming experience. In the open world, even on a base model of the current 5th generation Snapdragon 8, I can easily maintain a steady 60 frames per second. The setting is Awakening mode with full brightness and full image quality. This machine has not yet adapted to 90 frames. I will test it again after it is adapted. Then, after starting the super image quality interpolation to 120 frames, it can basically be around 120 frames, but occasionally when it is quiet. The third-party frame rate software currently has problems on the RedMagic, and it keeps jumping back and forth between 70 and 140 frames, so you can only look at the frame rate statistics that come with the RedMagic. 29 people landed at the event location, and the frame rate was still stable at around 144 frames. The machine setting is awakening mode with full brightness and 144 frames, and the picture quality is smooth and full. The full here refers to the picture quality option in the game assistant. Whether it is landing with a steel gun, in a smoke bomb, or shaking the car, it can be stable at around 144 frames. You should know that this phone also has a destroyer mode with full performance, so if you want to match Junjin with full frames, it is really no pressure for this RedMagic 11 Pro. Other Android flagships of the same generation still experience overheating and drops to 120 frames per second, so I personally think this is unmatched among this year's performance devices. It also addresses two issues that I consider more important.
First, the touchscreen is much better, with no more screen skipping. Second, the heat dissipation is significantly improved. 77 minutes used for PUBG gaming, the battery was at 80% when I start the game. The battery is 100%. The ambient temperature was 24.7 degrees Celsius, and the machine was 41 degrees Celsius in awakening mode. Full brightness and full frame rate, it maintained a steady 144 frames per second. I even reached the final stage of the single-digit period without experiencing any overheating, frame drops, or frame freezes. As veteran players of Crossfire Mobile, its performance on Apple devices is superior to that on Android devices. So, image quality and frame rate, I think it's truly impressive. 56 minutes used and the battery was at 86%. The ambient temperature was 25.1 degrees Celsius and the machine was 41.6 degrees Celsius. Android flagships still experience overheating and the drop of 120 frames per second, so I personally think this phone is unrivaled among this year's performance phones.
Now test Zenless Zone Zero games, and now I am testing it in high pressure scenes. The settings are full and the image quality is full. It can basically be stable at around 60 frames, but there will be small fluctuations of less than 10 frames occasionally. It seems that the pressure is too great and the awakening mode can't bear it. Friends who choose the RedMagic must have extreme demands for frame rate. Then turn on the destroyer mode directly. The classic one is obviously very strong. If you don't have requirements for extreme full frames, you really don't need to turn on the destroyer. After turning it on, the frame rate is stable at around 60 frames. How does the saying go? It's quite vivid to lose skin and flesh without dropping frames. In terms of picture quality and clarity, there is almost no difference between the RedMagic 11 Pro and the OnePlus 15. After 55 minutes, the battery is 91%, the environment is 24.7 degrees, and the machine is 33.1 degrees.